Okay, this is the first page of your unit exam for data and sampling. What I've done so far is that I've taken all of the data that was given to you and put them in order from least to greatest. Please make sure that you count how many pieces of data you do have when you write them down, because if for some reason you leave something off here, all of your information down here for your 5-number summary is going to be wrong. And so there are 21 pieces of data here. If I take one off, that gives me 20. Half of 20 is 10, and I'm going to add that one back on. So the one that I took off, I'm going to add it back in. What that's going to tell me is that the 11th value on this group of data right here is going to be my middle item. So if you have an odd number of data points, so odd meaning that it ends in a 1, a 3, a 5, a 7, or a 9, then you know you're going to have a number in the middle. If you have an even set of data, then you're not going to have an exact middle. You're going to have to find something in between 2 points. And so we're going to go to the 11th piece of data. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that right there is my middle. And because he is my middle, I cannot use that value anymore. So that right there is my Q2, which is my median, 23. Okay? I can go ahead and put my minimum. My minimum is my lowest value, which is 2. And my maximum is 71 here. Now remember, once we check for outliers, which is our next step after we finish our 5-number summary, those minimums and maximums might change. It just depends on our data. So what I need to do is I need to find the median of these values. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 pieces of data. So I need to find the middle of that. Half of 10 is 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means my middle is between these two numbers here. So what I have to do is I need to find the average of 8 and 11. So I do 8 plus 11, which is 19. And I'm going to have to divide that by 2. So again, we have to find the middle between those two. So I do 19.0 divided by 2. I know that 2 will go into 19 9 times, which is 18. I have 1 left over. This is where a lot of people messed up. They forgot to change it into a decimal and they put 0.1. But it's not going to be 0.1 because the 0 comes down and changes that into a 10. 2 goes into 10 5 times. So the point that's in between 8 and 11 is 9.5. So my Q1, or my lower quartile, is 9.5. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on my right hand side. This is my upper. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 31 and 36 are in the middle of my data, so therefore I need to find out what's in between those two. So I'm going to add them together and divide by 2. So 31, 36, that is 67. We're going to do 67 divided by 2. Remember, change it into a decimal, add a decimal and a 0 on there. 2 goes into 6 3 times. 2 times 3 is 6. We're going to subtract. That's 0. Bring down the 7. 2 goes into 7 3 times, which is 6. We're going to subtract. 7 minus 6 is 1. Bring down the 0. 2 goes into 10 5 times. So we're going to get 33.5 here. So that right there is my upper quartile, 33.5. Okay. Now we need to check for outliers. Step 1 for checking for your outliers is to find your IQR, which is your Q3 minus your Q1. So my Q3 is 33.5, and we're going to subtract 9.5. So 33.5 minus 9.5. 5 minus 5 is 0. We have to borrow. 13 minus 9 is 4. And 2 minus nothing is 2. So our IQR is 24. Step 2 is to take your IQR, or this number right here, and we're going to multiply it by 1.5. Okay? So I'm going to take 24, and I'm going to multiply it by 1.5. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. Put down your x. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. We're going to add these up. We got 360, but don't forget we have a decimal here. So we have one decimal place, so I need to move my decimal one time, which means that my magic number that I'm going to use is 36. You can actually take off that extra 0 because it's a whole number. We don't need it. Okay? So that magic number we're going to use 2 times. Step 3, we're going to take our Q1 and minus that magic number. Step 4, we're going to take our Q3 and we're going to add that magic number. You always start with your Q's. Notice that our Q's are both at the beginning of those steps and that our special number is at the end. So my Q1 is 9.5 and we're going to minus 36. Now, if you look at that, you're going to think, oh my gosh, that she did that wrong. But again, that is correct. 9.5, if we're going to subtract 36, that's not possible. So we're going to actually get a negative number there. What you need to ask yourself is, do I have anything lower than that negative number? Well, if we go back to our data, there is no data that is negative. So therefore, there are no lower quartiles. So the answer to that question is no. So our minimum of 2 can stay 2 because we have no outliers down there. Next, we move on to Q3 plus our number. Our Q3 is 33.5, 33.5. We're going to add 36 to this. Notice what I'm doing again. I'm adding that 0 back onto it because we have decimals. The rule is that if you have decimals, you need to keep the decimals there. Okay? So make sure that, again, when you're adding and subtracting, that you line up your decimals. That's a big rule. We're going to add. That's 5, 9, and 6. So we got 69.5. Okay, that means that I need to find numbers that are bigger than this over here. So we look, 71 is bigger than 69.5. 59, no. So our outlier is 71. Okay, which means that if my outlier is 71, it can no longer be the maximum. It can't play both roles. It can only play one. So therefore, it has to give up its title of maximum to the next number, which is 59. Okay? So, these two right here, my Q1, Q2, and Q3, these 3, are going to make your box. Your minimum is going to make your whisker. Your 59 is going to make the whisker. And 71 will make your little star or your dot. I went ahead and pre-numbered my paper. And so I'm just going to graph these here. So 9.5 is close to 10. I'm going to put a line there. 23 is in between 20 and 25. 33.5 is about in the middle here. And so I actually need to put you down for a second so I can draw my lines. So there's my box. My whisker is going to start at 2. So I'm going to go to 2, draw a line. My maximum is at 59, which is just below 60. So I'm going to draw as well as I can, one-handed, a line out to 59. And because my outlier is 71, I'm going to go out past 70 and put a dot or a star. And that is your box and whisker plot.